Nobody saw this coming. Moments ago, during what was supposed to be a routine guest appearance on Saturday Night Live, Bad Bunny flipped the script, turning a comedy sketch into a full-blown, real-time reckoning with his critics. What started as laughter quickly turned to gasps, then to chaos, as Benito called out his haters directly on live television, unfiltered, unscripted, and completely unapproved by NBC. The crowd went silent. The producers froze. And social media. It exploded within seconds. It all began halfway through his monologue, dressed in a sharp white suit under crimson lights. Bad Bunny looked straight into the camera and said, "They talk about me, but they don't listen to me. They judge my accent, my language, my people. Tonight, I'm done pretending." Then right there, live, the band cut out. The teleprompter went blank, and Benito launched into an impromptu freestyle that nobody could have predicted. His bars weren't funny. They were furious. He called out critics who'd called him manufactured rival artists who'd mocked his activism. And one line in particular that broke the internet: "They build careers on hate, I build worlds from it." The crowd roared so loud that the sound engineer had to lower the audience mic levels. By the time he finished, the SNL stage had turned into a stadium. Cast members were cheering. The live audience was on their feet. But the fallout outside that studio, it was instant and nuclear. Twitter erupted. TMZ reported that several SNL executives were seen visibly panicking backstage. NBC's lawyers allegedly rushed to review the segment before re-airing. And while most celebrities congratulated him for taking his power back, a few high-profile names weren't impressed, and they're already fighting back. Because what Bad Bunny said on that stage wasn't just personal, it was a message, a warning, and a declaration that shook the entire entertainment world. What happened on that SNL stage wasn't an accident, it was the eruption of something that had been building for months, maybe years. Because Bad Bunny, more than any other artist alive right now, has been living at the collision point of global superstardom and relentless criticism. And for the first time, he didn't just clap back on Twitter. He did it live on one of the biggest platforms in American television. To understand how we got here, you have to trace the war that's been brewing between Benito and the industry that both made and mocked him. It started subtly, interviews twisting his words, late-night hosts mocking his accent, pundits calling him incomprehensible or too political. But as Bad Bunny's fame grew, so did the resentment. Ever since he crossed over into full-blown global superstar time performing at Coachella, topping the Billboard Hot 100, hosting the Grammys, and Spanish critics have been waiting for him to fall. He wasn't supposed to last. They said his success was a fad. They said he was lucky. They said his activism, his Puerto Rican pride, his gender-fluid fashion, his insistence on singing in Spanish Chivan in American award shows was all a gimmick. And through it all, Benito stayed quiet. At least, until now. The backstory, the backlash that wouldn't deny the backlash, really began after that infamous phone-throwing incident in early 2023. Remember? A fan shoved a phone in his face in the Dominican Republic, and Bad Bunny tossed it into the ocean. The media loved it. Suddenly, every tabloid painted him as a diva, a narcissist, another celebrity losing touch. But what the headlines conveniently left out was that the fan had been harassing him for over an hour. She'd followed him through crowds, filming him without consent, ignoring his requests to stop. When he reacted like a human, they treated him like a villain. That's when the online hate campaign kicked into high gear. Every little move, his relationship with Kendall Jenner, his experimental albums, his political statements about colonialism was dissected and ridiculed. But insiders say what really broke him wasn't the mimes, it was the betrayal from inside the industry, according to multiple sources. Bad Bunny had been privately fighting with his own management team at Rima's Entertainment over what he called creative sterilization. They allegedly pushed him to make his next album more American, to tone down his political edge. To avoid controversial statements about Puerto Rico or the USHE, refused. That decision cost him sponsors, media allies, and even airtime. Late-night shows that once begged for him began quietly uninviting him. And when SNL initially announced its new season, his name wasn't even on the list. Then something changed. The last-minute invite 3 weeks ago. An emergency nut change was announced. Bad Bunny would both host and perform on SNL. No one knew why. Insiders whispered it was because another A-list guest dropped out last minute. Others claimed Lorne Michaels, the show's executive producer, had personally reached out to Benito, calling him a cultural moment that can't be ignored. Either way, Benito saw an opening and took it behind the scenes. Sources say the SNL producers were nervous. Bad Bunny had reportedly insisted on rewriting large chunks of his monologue himself. One staff writer even told Variety he came in with this energy like, "If I'm doing this, it's going to be my truth, not theirs." That should have been the first warning sign. The build to pin the days leading up to the broadcast. Fans noticed strange teasers on his social media accounts. Subtle, cryptic. Like he was planning something big. One story showed him walking through the empty SNL stage with the caption, "They gave me a mic. They shouldn't have." Another post showed a broken teleprompter with the words nitrogen monoxide script written across it in marker. His publicist, however, kept insisting to the press that it was all just marketing. But if you followed Bad Bunny for long enough, you know nothing he does is just marketing. By the time show night rolled around, every seat in Studio 8H was filled with celebrities, executives, and nervous NBC producers watching from backstage. He started like every host does with humor. A few self-deprecating jokes, a few barbs at social media drama. The crowd laughed, relaxed, and then, at the 5-minute mark, it happened. The smile dropped. The band stopped. The lights turned red. He stepped forward, locked eyes with the camera, and said, "They want me to smile while they mock my accent. They want me to dance while they call me a clown. But tonight, I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to remember who I am." The crowd fell silent. The FARE's Loa came next wasn't planned, at least. Not by NBC, he started rapping in Spanish and English, switching between fury and calm with surgical control. It wasn't comedic, it wasn't rehearsed, which was poetry set on fire. He called out fake friends, journalists who translated lies, influencers who profit from pain, even name-dropped a few music insiders who told him to stick to reggaeton and stay out of politics. They build walls with opinions. I build bridges with rhythm. They fear what they don't understand, but I understand them. Every verse hit harder than the last. By the end, the audience was screaming. And then came the moment that made history. He walked to the front of the stage, looked into the camera again, and said no music, no beat, to everyone who said I changed. I didn't. You did. The crowd lost it. The FTR may attach the applause lasted over a minute. Even the cast joined in. SNL staffers said it was the loudest reaction since Dave Chappelle's monologue. But behind the scenes, chaos erupted. NBC producers were scrambling to cut to commercial early. The control booth reportedly didn't know whether they could legally air the unscripted monologue. One insider told Page 6, everyone backstage was losing it. They didn't know if they'd just aired a career-defining moment or a career-ending one. The show continued, but the energy never recovered. Bad Bunny's later musical performance of a brand new, unreleased track titled Contra To-Dos Against Everyone only added fuel to the fire by the time the show ended. Twitter was on fire. Celebrities, politicians, fans all reacting in real time. Some called it art. Others called it arrogance. But one thing was undeniable. He owned the night, and the fallout was just beginning. Because less than 12 hours after that live broadcast, a string of powerful figures in music and media began pushing back, accusing Bad Bunny of inciting hostility, slandering the press, and breaking NBC's broadcast integrity agreement. And somewhere between the fan frenzy, the corporate backlash, and the silence from SNL's official channels, rumors began to spread that what happened on that stage wasn't spontaneous at all. That it had been planned for weeks, that NBC might have known, and that the most shocking part of all, the cameras didn't stop rolling when the credits ended. By the time America woke up the morning after that SNL episode, the fallout had already reached nuclear levels. Every major news outlet was looping the same 30-second clip of Bad Bunny's unscripted tirade, his voice echoing across millions of screens, his words dissected frame by frame, like a national event. What had started as a monologue was now a movement, and for the people in power. That was a problem. The network P&IC headquarters. Executives were in full-blown damage control. Leaked memos later revealed that the live feed delay, normally 7 seconds, had mysteriously failed during Bad Bunny's performance. The network had no time to censor anything he said. An internal Slack message from one senior producer, obtained by Deadline, read, "We lost delay control 90 seconds before his freestyle. Legals losing their minds. Someone's gonna take the fall for this." What's worse, it wasn't just NBC under fire. Corporate sponsors that had paid millions for ad space during the show were furious. They claimed the unsanctioned political content had compromised brand integrity. Coca-Cola, Apple, Nike. They all called for statements or silence. NBC tried to smooth it over with a bland press release claiming Bad Bunny's outburst was an artistic expression consistent with live performance tradition. But behind closed doors, their lawyers were already discussing breach of contract penalties. Because if the monologue had been premeditated, if Benito had planned this, NBC could technically sue him for millions. And according to new evidence, that's exactly what he'd done. The script that wasn't a script. 2 days later, Variety dropped a bombshell. Someone inside 30 Rockefeller Center had leaked the rehearsal scripts for the SNL episode, except Bad Bunny's version wasn't like anyone else's. Every host script had clear stage directions, color-coded jokes, and timing marks. Bad Bunny's, a single sheet of paper with one sentence written across the top. "Let them hear me when they think I'm supposed to smile." There were no punchlines, no segments, no cue cards. Even stranger, the document was time-stamped 3 weeks before the live show, meaning this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment rebellion. It was a premeditated ambush, and apparently, he hadn't been working alone. The leaked audio that same night. An anonymous whistleblower uploaded a 90-second voice note to Twitter titled SNL Pre-Show Confession. In it, a man whose voice sounded unmistakably like Bad Bunny's could be heard speaking in Spanish to an unknown person. "They think I'll just smile for them. But if I say it live, they can't cut it. Not if it's in the rhythm. You're really gonna do it." The second voice asks is, "Why voy a decir sus nombres?" "Yes, and I'm going to say their names. You know that'll burn everything down." Then let it burn, within hours. The clip had millions of views. NBC refused to confirm or deny its authenticity, but fans compared the voice to old live streams, matched the tone, and even analyzed background noise, concluding it had been recorded in a hotel room, most likely during SNL rehearsals. That's when the internet realized something chilling. This wasn't Bad Bunny losing control. This was Bad Bunny declaring war. the names he cited in his freestyle. Benito had rattled off several cryptic references, initials, company names, phrases that sounded harmless to the casual viewer. But Reddit detectives and Spanish-speaking fans began decoding them. When he rapped, "They sell me silence with a price tag from LA to Madrid." Fans pointed to a major PR agency known for managing celebrity crises, Vanguard Communications, one of NBC's own consulting partners. When he spat, the artist speaks. The Empire edits. Many believed it was a direct shot at his record label and American distribution arm, Sony Latin, both of which had recently refused to release his politically charged demo, El Ultimo Potter. And when he said, "You film my pain," then copyright it. Some claimed he was exposing how streaming platforms secretly profit from emotional content metrics, data mined from listener behavior. Suddenly, the freestyle wasn't just a rant. It was a map of buried industry secrets. The powerful strike BAC came within 24 hours. Media insiders began to push a counter-narrative. Anonymous sources told Page 6 that Bad Bunny had been emotionally unstable leading up to the show. TMZ quoted a friend saying he'd been drinking backstage, and one gossip blogger claimed he'd been on a manic creative binge. The smear campaign was textbook fast, vicious, coordinated. But fans weren't buying it. They started posting side-by-side comparisons of headlines. How outlets once praised him for artistic genius now called him unhinged. How the same executives who profited off his activism now distanced themselves from his honesty. The hashtags #TheyFear Benito and #LetHimSpeak shot to the top of Twitter trends in under an hour. The video that was never supposed to air then. The most shocking piece of evidence surfaced. On Tuesday night, a now viral TikTok user posted what she claimed was leaked security footage from the SNL studio floor after the broadcast ended. In the video, you can see the live audience still cheering while the crew starts breaking down set pieces. Benito is off camera, talking heatedly to two producers. You can't hear everything, but one phrase cuts clearly through the noise. "You muted me once. Not again." The producer responds, "We didn't mute you," before the video abruptly ends. NBC moved swiftly to scrub the clip from every platform, citing copyright infringement. But of course, the internet had already archived it, the consensus among fans and journalists alike. That Bad Bunny had gone off script during multiple moments, and SNL had edited them out of the re-airing, which begged one question: what did he say that we didn't see? The first twist, the locked SEG Man 2 days later. A small Reddit community called R Live Leak the Truth posted something that changed everything. They'd found the missing segment hidden inside a regional NBC affiliate's streaming backup. The footage was only 47 seconds long, labeled Segment D, Red Stage, in it. Benito stands on stage alone after the applause dies down. He looks at the crowd, exhausted, almost tearful, and says softly, "They tell me to be quiet because it's safer. But silence is never safe. It's a cage." Then the lights flicker. He turns to the band and says, "No more music." The band stops cold. He looks directly into the camera and says the line that was cut from the re-air: "They can take away my mic, but not my voice." The clip ends there, but what makes it even stranger? The metadata timestamp for that footage didn't match the SNL broadcast schedule. It was stamped 3 hours after the show aired, meaning Benito had gone back on stage after the live taping ended and filmed that final message privately. How? Why? Who was he sending it to? No one knew, but one theory dominated the internet: that he'd recorded it as a warning that he'd known NBC would try to edit him, and wanted the truth to leak no matter what. The silence from SNL while chaos erupted online. Lorne Michaels and the SNL producers went completely silent. No statements, no interviews, no clarification. The official SNL YouTube channel posted every sketch from that night, except the monologue. That only made the story grow bigger, because if NBC really thought it was harmless, why bury it? Even other SNL cast members began to speak out anonymously. One told The Hollywood Reporter he knew what he was doing. Everyone in the studio could feel it. It wasn't anger, it was truth. And the truth made people uncomfortable. The rumors of BLACK lasted within a week. Music insiders began whispering that Bad Bunny's next US tour was in jeopardy. One streaming platform reportedly paused promotion for his catalog. His publicist refused to comment. Fans took to social media in protest. They accused corporate America of trying to silence yet another artist who dared to speak freely. But behind the scenes, it seemed something even darker was happening, because a leaked internal memo from NBC's legal department revealed that an emergency partnership review had been launched not just against Bad Bunny, but against any future Latin artist with potentially political content. In short, the networks were closing ranks, but they underestimated one thing: the internet's memory, the final BLOW, just when it seemed NBC had successfully buried the story. An independent journalist dropped a link to a hidden web page, a mirror archive of Bad Bunny's uncut rehearsal footage. In it, Benito is pacing the empty SNL stage, mumbling lines to himself, and then stops suddenly. He looks straight at the camera like he knows it's recording and says, "They want a puppet. I brought a mirror." The camera zooms in. He smiles. "Let's see who flinches first." That line became legend overnight. Within hours, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube were flooded with remixes of the clip. Fans set it to music. 2 beats, 2 slow-motion edits. It wasn't just viral, it was immortal. The networks could try to silence him. But Benito had already done what no censorship could undo. He'd made the whole world look at itself, and just when everyone thought he'd gone quiet again, another leak dropped. A cryptic 10-second voice note on Instagram stories. Posted and deleted within a minute. They think this was the war. It was just the rehearsal. It was just the rehearsal. The caption, "See you Saturday." And guess who's hosting next week's SNL rerun special? None other than Kendall Jenner. By Thursday night, 4 days after the infamous SNL broadcast, the entertainment industry had gone from outrage to full-blown paranoia. Bad Bunny's freestyle had shaken the foundation of a carefully controlled system, and now? That system was fighting back. But the harder they tried to erase him, the louder the echoes became, because something about that performance had changed the energy online, the tone, the conversation, even the algorithms. Everywhere people looked, the same question was trending. What did Bad Bunny mean by "See you Saturday"? The calm before the AFTOS HOCCO on Friday, NBC released a teaser for its upcoming Best of SNL live special, hosted by Kendall Jenner, Benito's ex-girlfriend. The promo was brief, just Kendall standing on stage, smiling, saying, "Let's make Saturday fun." Again. But eagle-eyed fans noticed something that made everyone's blood run cold. Told for a single frame, invisible to the naked eye, but visible. When slowed down, the word "mirror" flashed. Behind her on the LED screen in red letters, no one could tell if it was a glitch, a coincidence, or a deliberate reference to Bad Bunny's infamous rehearsal. Quote, "They want a puppet. I brought a mirror." Within hours, that one frame went viral. Reddit sleuths and TikTok theorists claimed NBC was sending a coded message. Others believed Benito had somehow infiltrated the network system to leave his mark. NBC issued a vague statement saying the anomaly was a rendering error in post-production. But things were about to get stranger. The missing footage on Friday night. A data breach at NBC Universal exposed hundreds of internal files, including rough cuts, rehearsal videos, and behind-the-scenes footage from multiple SNL episodes, buried in one folder labeled bunny_10.23_internal_USE_only, were 3 clips that no one had ever seen. In one of them, a backstage camera captured Benito pacing his dressing room 2 hours before showtime. He was muttering to himself, his voice low but determined. "If I say it once, they'll mute me. If I say it in rhythm, they'll have to replay it." He paused, looked at his reflection in the mirror, and whispered something chilling. "The mirror never lies." Then, in the second clip, he scribbled something onto a piece of paper, a list of initials, KJJCRF, A.M. No context. No explanation, but fans quickly connected the dots. KJ equals Kendall Jenner, JC equals Jimmy Cordero. His former tour manager, RF equals Raymond Fernandez. Head of Rima's Entertainment, AM equals Alex Martinez. A senior producer at NBC. People started speculating that these were the people who'd tried to silence him. The Kendall COON and Nisa Tion by Saturday morning. Kendall Jenner's name was trending for all the wrong reasons. Rumors flooded social media claiming that her SNL hosting gig had been planned before Bad Bunny's episode, that she was originally scheduled to appear with him as a surprise guest, but pulled out at the last minute. A source close to the production told Us Weekly. She was supposed to do a comedy sketch with him, but after he rewrote his monologue, she backed out. She said it was too unpredictable. Fans immediately started linking this to his lyric during the freestyle. "You loved my silence more than my sound." People thought he was talking about his haters. Now, it looked like he was talking about her, and then came the real twist. The live show Our Retourness Saturday arrived. SNL's rerun special aired, live from New York as planned. Kendall on stage, polished, poised, smiling. The show opened without a hitch. Ratings soared, but 10 minutes in, the first glitch hit. The camera froze mid-sketch. The lights flickered, and for half a second, the screen filled with static. When the image returned, Kendall was visibly thrown off, her timing broken, her smile faltering. She stuttered a line, looked off stage, and whispered, "Did you see that?" The show cut to commercial immediately, but social media didn't miss it. Clips of the glitch flooded TikTok instantly. And when digital analysts slowed the footage down, they discovered something impossible inside the static. In faint grayscale, a reflection appeared. Bad Bunny, staring directly at the camera. It wasn't from old footage. It was live. His face flickered in the static for exactly 0.33 seconds before vanishing. The system meltdown. Executives went into panic mode. Producers halted filming, pulling Kendall off stage and blaming the disruption on a visual system malfunction. But fans weren't buying it. Every major entertainment outlet was flooded with reports of phantom overlays appearing. In the live broadcast feed, momentary flashes of Benito's outline in mirrors, glass reflections, even water bottles on the SNL desk. One viral tweet showed a mirror prop from the Weekend Update segment. For one frame, it reflected Bad Bunny's name etched across it in digital distortion. NBC pulled the live stream offline within minutes, but it was too late. The footage had already spread across the internet. And every conspiracy theorist, hacker, and superfan had the same theory. He's hijacked the show. The secret fed hours later. Anonymous accounts began sharing links to a hidden stream, supposedly embedded inside NBC's website code during the broadcast. When users clicked, they didn't get a normal web page. Instead, a looping video played. Bad Bunny's SNL stage bathed in red light, empty except for a single mirror standing center stage. The reflection inside it shifted every few minutes. Sometimes it showed Kendall looking terrified backstage. Other times it showed Benito's silhouette standing just behind her. whispering something indistinguishable. Then, around 11:58 p.m., the stream changed completely. A close-up of Bad Bunny's face filled the frame. His expression was calm, focused, almost hypnotic. He leaned forward and said, "They wanted me off their stage, so I built my own." The feed cut to black dot, and across the screen, white text appeared. Phase 2, the mirror signal. The industry RUC2, and within minutes, NBC's cybersecurity team locked down every server. Multiple news outlets reported that unidentified data packets had been uploaded into the network during the live broadcast. Origin unknown. Trace untraceable. Cyber experts claim the stream came from a VPN bounce across 3 countries: Puerto Rico, Japan, and Iceland. The phrase Phase 2 sent the internet into a frenzy. Fans started theorizing that this was connected to the mirror messages he'd dropped during his first SNL episode, but then something happened that pushed the situation from scandal to outright hysteria. The post that shook HOLYWOD. 12:33 a.m. Bad Bunny's Instagram reactivated after nearly a week of silence. He posted a single photo, a cracked mirror. Lying on the SNL stage floor, the caption read, "They thought reflection was rebellion. It's revelation." Within an hour, the post hit 20 million likes. But fans noticed something else. Hidden in the corner of the image was a reflection, Kendall Jenner. Standing behind him, blurred, her expression unreadable. Was it new? Was it from rehearsals? No one could confirm. But Kendall's team immediately went dark, disabling comments and blocking tags. TMZ reported that Kendall left 30 Rock in tears after the glitch-filled broadcast. Insiders claim she was overheard yelling at producers. He said this would happen. "I told you he wasn't finished. I told you he wasn't finished." The twist nitrogen monoxide one saw COIMING the following morning. NBC's press office released an emergency statement. The unauthorized footage broadcast during Saturday's show did not originate from NBC or its affiliates. An investigation is underway. But tech reporters discovered something extraordinary. The unauthorized feed, the one showing the mirror and the reflection, had used an official NBC internal access code, meaning whoever uploaded it wasn't an outsider. It was someone inside the system. That revelation turned everything upside down. Because if Benito hadn't hacked NBC, then someone working for NBC had helped him, and that's when the internet exploded again. Not with theories this time, but with a question that changed everything. If Bad Bunny didn't just hijack their show, did he hijack their people? The new WR Nyanjamanese, after that discovery went public, Benito posted one last Instagram story. It was a black screen with 3 words in white text: "Mirrors never lie." The timestamp? 3:33 a.m. And as millions of fans refreshed their feeds, waiting for what came next, a new hashtag began trending globally. The same one whispered in backstage footage. The same one he'd teased from the start. Phase 3 is coming. No one knew what it meant. But one thing was certain. The war between Bad Bunny and the industry wasn't over. It had just gone digital, and the next stage wouldn't take place on live TV. It would happen inside every screen we own. Phones buzzed through the night. The internet refused to sleep. Every social feed, every entertainment blog, every fan account was overtaken by the same CLAPS Kendall's frozen smile, the glitching screen, and that split-second reflection of Bad Bunny's face appearing out of static like a ghost in the machine. It didn't feel like a TV show anymore. It felt like something alive, something feeding on attention and confusion. The next morning, NBC's social media accounts were flooded. Millions demanded answers, but the network went silent. Their Instagram comments were disabled within an hour. The SNL Twitter account stopped posting. Fans began to suspect something deeper. They didn't lose control, one viral tweet read. They handed it to him. Meanwhile, celebrities began to pick sides. Cardi B posted a story of herself laughing, captioned, "That boy broke the algorithm." Billie Eilish uploaded a black screen with the words, "He's not crazy. He's free." Drake unfollowed Benito that same night. The entertainment world split right down the middle between those who saw him as a digital revolutionary and those who saw him as a PR bomb about to detonate on everyone who touched him. In Puerto Rico, crowds poured into the streets, painting mirrors on walls and holding up signs that read, "Somos el Relino, we are the reflection." Protesters blasted his freestyle from car speakers, turning it into an anthem. They weren't just fans anymore. They were part of the signal. Back in Hollywood, panic set in. Streaming platforms started quietly removing his live SNL episode from their servers, citing licensing issues, but every time it disappeared. A new version surfaced edited, mirrored, reversed, looped. Fans noticed that each reel upload had subtle differences, tiny distortions, like the footage was evolving. The more the industry tried to erase him, the more impossible it became to keep up by midweek. People started reporting strange technical glitches. During ad breaks, TVs flashed brief frames of the same cracked mirror, reflecting a man's silhouette. Spotify briefly crashed, showing the message Phase 3, initializing. Apple Music users claimed that when they searched Bad Bunny, their screens flickered white and displayed a time 3:33 a.m. It was happening everywhere at once. CNN ran an emergency segment titled, "The Bad Bunny Phenomenon, Accident or Attack." Experts debated whether the incidents were coordinated hacks or mass hysteria. But then one cybersecurity researcher revealed something that changed everything. The glitches weren't random. They were synced to a single broadcast server located in New York City, the same one used by NBC during live transmissions. Someone or something was broadcasting again. Then, at exactly 3:33 that night, every device connected to Wi-Fi across several time zones glitched simultaneously. For 3 seconds, screens went black. Then a faint reflection appeared, a mirror with a heartbeat pulsing behind it. A whisper echoed through the static. "You can't mute the truth." People screamed. Some laughed. Some cried. But millions of devices, millions of homes, shared the same 3 seconds of silence and sound. When the screens returned to normal, phones started vibrating non-stop with a new notification. "The mirror signal has been activated." NBC denied involvement. Government agencies issued official warnings about malicious mass media interference. Tech companies scrambled to patch what they called frequency exploits. But nobody could stop it. Every attempt to block the glitch made it stronger, spreading faster, appearing on digital billboards, phone screens, even smart refrigerators. By dawn, #the mirror signal was the #1 trend on Earth, and in San Juan. A projection lit up the side of a skyscraper. A single message written in white light. "You can't destroy what reflects you." The next day, Bad Bunny's Instagram posted again. A single video, 5 seconds long. No music, no words, just his reflection in a broken mirror. Then he smiled, and the caption read, "See you in the finale." The timestamp, 3:33 a.m. No one knew where he was. No one knew what he was planning. But the world was already watching, mirrors glowing in the dark, waiting for the final broadcast to begin.